Listen carefully. There are moments when heaven whispers, but only a few are awake enough to hear. Today is one of those moments. The message that reaches you now is not coincidence. It's a calling, a warning, a reminder from the unseen that time is short and the soul must not sleep any longer. I am Shiheng Yi. For decades I have studied the hidden teachings of the Shaolin Temple, teachings that were never meant for fame or entertainment, but for awakening. In this message, I will share with you the forgotten link between divine guidance and human discipline, the connection between spiritual awareness and physical mastery. You will learn why true strength has nothing to do with power over others, but with balance inside yourself. You will see how the energy you waste in confusion can be transformed into peace through mindful attention. And you will hear the ancient truth that God's voice speaks not in thunder, but in the quiet rhythm of your own breath. Stay until the end, because what begins as understanding may end as revelation. Each principle we uncover is a key that unlocks your ability to hear what the universe has been trying to tell you all along. This is not philosophy from books, it is living wisdom carried through centuries by those who chose awareness over sleep. So let this be your moment to pause, to breathe, and to awaken to something greater moving through you right now. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, a space where ancient discipline meets divine purpose. If your heart feels the call, subscribe and walk this path with us. The message that follows is not just for the mind, it's for the spirit that's ready to rise. There is a silence before every battle, a stillness that tests your heart more than your strength. Most people wait for enemies they can see, faces they can blame, storms they can escape. But the Shaolin path teaches something deeper. The real battlefield is not out there. It lives within you, between your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses. In the early morning hours, when the temple is wrapped in mist, the monks begin their training not to fight others, but to conquer the restlessness within. Each strike, each breath, each stance is a conversation with the self. The body learns to move as the mind learns to quiet, and only when the two move as one does the spirit awaken. You must understand, there is no victory in defeating others while chaos rules inside. The anger, the fear, the doubt you carry, these are your true opponents. They whisper when you hesitate. They drain your energy when you chase distractions. But they can also become your greatest teachers if you are willing to face them. Discipline is not punishment. It is the sword that cuts through confusion. Mindfulness is not escape. It is the shield that protects your inner peace. Together they forge the warrior of light, the one who no longer runs from the storm, but stands calmly within it. So when you wake each morning, do not ask what the world will bring. Ask instead, what part of me must I face today? For every thought you master, every emotion you transform, every temptation you resist, another layer of your power returns to you. Stand up, commit to the path. The battle is not against the world, it is the shaping of the soul, and the victory, quietly, has always been yours. There is a saying in the old Shaolin halls, where the mind goes, energy follows. Every master understood this truth, long before the modern world drowned itself in noise. Attention is not a small thing, it is the thread that weaves reality itself. What you give it to, grows. What you neglect, fades. In the temple, the young monks sweep the courtyard not because it is dirty, but to train the mind to stay. Each grain of sand, each movement of the broom, is a meditation on presence. To hold attention steady in something so simple is to forge stillness within chaos. The world outside may roar, but inside, silence. Focus becomes prayer. Most people believe they are thinking freely, but they are merely reacting. Every sound, every scream, every emotion pulls at them, and they follow without noticing. When your attention drifts without your consent, you lose more than focus, you lose yourself. The Shaolin path teaches that mastery begins the moment you reclaim it. To choose where your awareness rests is to take the first step toward freedom. This is why stillness is sacred. It reveals how scattered the mind has become. When you sit in silence and feel your thoughts racing, that discomfort is the beginning of discipline. Each breath that draws you back, each return to awareness, is an act of spiritual rebellion. Attention is the gate between the outer world and the inner one. Through it flows all experience, all meaning, all creation. Guard it as you would guard sacred fire, for whatever holds your focus will eventually shape your destiny. The divine message is simple yet profound. Choose wisely, for your attention is the seed of your reality, and the way you water it determines what kind of world will grow around you. Freedom is often mistaken for doing whatever we want. But in the eyes of the old masters, freedom without direction is chaos wearing a mask of choice. Discipline, they taught, is the quiet architect of true liberation. To shape the self is to set it free. In the early days of temple life, discipline was not punishment, it was devotion. The monks would rise before dawn, their breaths forming clouds in the cold air. Every motion, from bowing to walking, was precise. To an outsider, it looked strict. But within that structure, something profound began to grow: peace. The body followed rhythm, the mind learned stillness, and the spirit expanded beyond restlessness. When the mind chases every impulse, it becomes its own prison. It runs toward pleasure, away from discomfort, and calls that freedom. Yet the Shaolin path reveals the opposite truth. When you master your impulses, they no longer rule you. When you choose action over mood, focus over comfort, you unlock a deeper sense of ease, one that no external condition can take away. The divine message speaks the same language. Structure is not a cage, it is a bridge. Every act of discipline, rising early, breathing consciously, speaking with intention, forms a pattern strong enough to carry you across the storms of life. Without that pattern, you drift wherever the wind of emotion blows. True freedom is calm in the midst of temptation. It is the power to act without being ruled by desire. Like a river guided by its banks, your energy gains strength through form. Discipline is the sacred boundary that allows your spirit to flow fully, not wildly. It is not the end of freedom. It is where freedom finally begins. There's a rhythm hidden beneath all things, a quiet dance between effort and surrender, between strength and softness. The Shaolin masters call it the middle way. It is not a path of weakness or passivity. It is the art of moving between opposites without losing your center. In the mountains, monks trained under both blazing heat and biting cold. They meditated in silence, then struck with fierce precision. They learned that too much force breaks the body, but too much ease dulls the spirit. So they walked a line as thin as a blade's edge, strong but flexible, alert yet relaxed. Through that balance they discovered peace that no external comfort could offer. In life we are often pulled toward extremes. We work until exhaustion, then collapse into stillness. We love with attachment, then retreat in fear. But mastery begins when you stop swinging and start observing. Mindfulness means standing in the center, feeling both the calm and the storm, yet not being carried away by either. The middle way is not about avoiding life's intensity. It's about learning to hold it with awareness. Hardship teaches resilience, rest teaches grace, and together they forge harmony. Without one, the other cannot exist. Day needs night. Movement needs stillness. Power needs peace. The divine message whispers, balance is not found. It is built moment by moment. Each breath you take is both expansion and return. Each choice, a chance to stay aligned between doing and being. When you find that axis within yourself, life stops feeling like a battle and becomes a flow. You act without strain, rest without guilt, and face change without fear. This is the essence of the middle way, the quiet strength of one who walks steady between all extremes. In every seeker's journey, there comes a time when the light is no longer enough. The smiles fade, the mantras quiet, and what remains is the shadow, the unrefined, unhealed part of the self waiting to be seen. The Shaolin masters taught that this encounter is not failure but initiation. Self-mastery begins not when you rise above your darkness, but when you sit with it and learn its language. In the temple, a monk who loses his temper is not punished. He is guided to watch it. He observes how anger rises, how it burns, how it fades. Through this awareness, emotion becomes teacher. The lesson what you suppress returns stronger, but what you face transforms into strength. To fear your shadow is to give it control. To face it with calm attention is to reclaim your power. The ancient path does not promise comfort. It promises truth. Beneath your fears lies courage, waiting to awaken. Beneath your pain lies compassion that understands others. Beneath your confusion lies wisdom that sees clearly. Each hidden emotion, when accepted, becomes energy freed from bondage. The divine message is gentle yet firm. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your invitation. The wounds, regrets, and shames you hide are sacred gateways to depth. The more you run from them, the more they chase you. But the moment you stop and breathe, the chase ends. Awareness dissolves fear. Presence ends resistance. To confront your shadow is to bow before your humanity. It is to stand in darkness without losing your light. When you no longer reject any part of yourself, you become whole. And in that wholeness, divine grace flows, not as reward, but as recognition that even your darkness has been part of the way all along. The body never lies. Long before the mind forms words, the body already knows. It tightens when you ignore truth, softens when you align with it. The Shaolin path teaches that the body is not separate from spirit. It is the temple through which spirit expresses itself. To master the body is to enter into sacred dialogue with the divine. In the early mornings, monks train not merely for strength, but for awareness. Each stance, each breath, each motion is meditation in motion. The body bends, but the mind remains still. The muscles tremble, but the breath stays calm. Through this practice, they discover that the body and mind are reflections of one another. A restless mind creates tension in the body. A disciplined body brings peace to the mind. Modern life often numbs this connection. We sit, rush, and consume until we no longer feel the signals within us. The body whispers, slow down, breathe deeper, rest, but we override it with noise and urgency. In doing so, we silence wisdom older than thought itself. The body is always speaking. It is we who have forgotten how to listen. God's message is simple. Your body is not a cage. It is a compass. Every ache, every rhythm, every breath carries information about your alignment. When you walk with awareness, eat with gratitude, breathe with presence, the divine becomes tangible. You begin to sense harmony between effort and ease, motion and stillness, matter and spirit. Move gently, breathe consciously, and you will feel life itself moving through you. The sacred is not found only in prayer. It lives in posture, in breath, in heartbeat. When you honor your body as the vessel of your awakening, every movement becomes devotion, and every breath becomes a conversation with God. There is a kind of peace that can only be found when you stop reaching. The old masters understood this long before the world became obsessed with progress. They saw how the mind clings to outcomes, how it grasps for control, and how in doing so it forgets to live. True power, they taught, is not in what you can force, but in how deeply you can surrender to the present moment. In the Shaolin tradition, even the simplest movement is performed with full awareness. A monk does not strike to win, he strikes to understand. The act itself is the lesson. When the mind is fixed on result, the body stiffens, the breath shortens, and the moment slips away. But when attention returns to the now, every gesture becomes effortless. Every outcome unfolds naturally. The world teaches you to chase, to measure, to prove. But the way teaches something different. Act with sincerity, then release. When you do your best and let go of what follows, you enter harmony with a force greater than your own will. The present moment, served fully, becomes the seed of all right outcomes. Mindfulness is not passive. It is participation without attachment. It is to see clearly what stands before you, to act from that clarity, and to trust the flow that carries life forward. The divine message reminds you, when you stop asking, what's next, the next step appears on its own. Serve this moment as though it is sacred, because it is. Every breath, every task, every conversation is a field for awareness to bloom. When you honor the now, the future no longer needs chasing. It begins to align silently, drawn to the stillness of a heart that has learned to be here, completely. Strength without conscience is a river without banks. It flows, but it destroys everything in its path. The Shaolin masters understood that power alone is meaningless if it is not guided by virtue. They called it Wudai, martial virtue, humility, respect, integrity. It is the foundation upon which true mastery is built, the compass that directs every action. In the training halls, a young monk learns not only to strike, but to bow. He learns to listen before he speaks, to yield when force is unneeded, and to honor the life around him. Every motion, every decision carries the weight of ethics. Without them, skill becomes arrogance, knowledge becomes pride, and influence becomes oppression. Virtue transforms ability into wisdom, and ability without virtue becomes a shadow of itself. Life will offer many shortcuts, moments when bending rules seems easier than holding the line. Yet the ancient path teaches that compromise of character is the true costliest defeat. Integrity is not visible in grand gestures alone, but in small acts, keeping promises, acting with honesty even when unseen, treating every being with respect. Each choice strengthens the inner structure of a life lived consciously. Divine guidance whispers that greatness is measured not by what you achieve, but by how you achieve it. Your kindness, loyalty, and uprightness are more powerful than any feat or possession. They echo beyond your own life, shaping the world around you in subtle, lasting ways. Virtue is not optional. It is the silent force that turns mastery into service. To act with skill but without ethics is to wield a sword blindfolded. To act with virtue is to move through the world as both warrior and guide, shaping not only your own path but the hearts of those who follow. True power is quiet, disciplined, and ethical, and it begins with choosing to do what is right always. Every movement carries meaning. In the quiet of the temple, monks train not only to fight, but to inhabit each gesture fully. Every step, every bow, every swing of the arm is practiced as meditation in motion. This is the essence of mindful performance. The body, mind, and spirit aligned in each act, no matter how small. To live in this way is to see life itself as sacred. Eating becomes a ritual, not a task. Walking becomes a conversation with the earth beneath your feet. Work transforms from obligation into a practice of attention. Even rest, when embraced with awareness, becomes renewal. Nothing is wasted, nothing is trivial. The ordinary, approached with presence, becomes extraordinary. The Shaolin masters understood that sitting quietly is only part of the path. Real mastery is discovered when stillness meets movement. The mind must flow with the body, not chase it. When washing dishes, lifting weights, or folding robes, the mind watches, feels, and responds in full consciousness. Each act becomes a teacher, each moment a mirror of inner state. This practice reveals hidden patterns of distraction and attachment. A wandering thought, a rushed gesture, a careless word, they become visible, like ripples in still water. When attention returns, calm and precision follow. The sacred is not found only in ritual or prayer. It is found in the fullness of engagement, in the art of being fully here. The divine message is clear. Life is not a series of tasks to complete, but a field for presence to flourish. When every act is performed with attention, the boundaries between meditation and daily life dissolve. The ordinary becomes infused with depth, each gesture echoing the harmony of body and mind. To act with full presence is to honor the moment, to honor yourself, and to awaken to the subtle sacredness that exists in every breath. True mastery is quiet. It does not announce itself with grandeur or demand attention. In the Shaolin tradition, a monk who achieves skill does not boast, he serves. Each lesson learned, each hardship overcome, each moment of clarity is not for personal pride, but for the benefit of others. Mastery is a light meant to illuminate, not to blind. The temple teaches that no one walks alone. Every monk's discipline, every act of awareness ripples outward. When one person strengthens their mind, it steadies the energy of the entire community. When one heart cultivates compassion, it softens the harshness around it. Transformation is never contained. It grows by being shared. A single candle, when lit, can brighten many rooms. This principle applies beyond walls of stone and ritual. In daily life, your inner work shapes the world silently. Your patience can calm another storm. Your honesty can guide someone lost. Your courage can awaken those who fear. True power is invisible in itself, yet unmistakable in its effect on others. The more fully you embody wisdom and discipline, the more it radiates, whether you speak or remain silent. The divine message reminds us that greatness is never solitary. Your rise is not measured by personal gain alone, but by the lives you touch. Each step forward, each obstacle you transform within yourself, carries potential for illumination. When you walk with awareness, virtue, and presence, you extend that light to your circle, your community, your world. Personal mastery is therefore inseparable from service. The path of skill is the path of generosity. The more you cultivate yourself, the more your light reaches outward. In mastering your own being, you plant seeds of awakening in those around you. The gift of transformation is never yours alone. It is meant to shine beyond the self, guiding others toward their own clarity. The journey begins within. Every thought you master, every breath you deepen, every choice guided by awareness shapes the life you lead. The battlefield is not outside. It is your own mind, body, and spirit. By choosing attention, embracing discipline, finding balance, and facing your shadow, you step into true freedom. Each movement, each act of presence, each moment lived with virtue becomes a thread in the tapestry of mastery. This is not theory, it is a living path. When your inner work flows into service, your life becomes a beacon, your actions a reflection of divine wisdom. Let go of outcomes. Move with clarity. Serve each moment. Your growth touches others. Your light extends beyond yourself. And in this way, personal mastery becomes shared illumination. Take these teachings into your daily life. Wake with awareness, walk with presence, act with integrity, and breathe with intention. Each step is an opportunity to embody the principles that have guided seekers for centuries. The divine whisper is here, now, calling you to awaken, to be the change, to rise fully into your own potential. May your path be steady, your mind clear, and your heart open. Allow each day to be a practice, each moment a chance to return to stillness and purpose. If this message resonates, join our community. Like, subscribe, and walk this journey with us at Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening. Let your presence here be a beginning, and let the light you cultivate guide every step forward.